Hello there, I am Rainna, and I welcome you to Reflect with me in Entry 8 of Reflecting with Rainna. This is a journal-style microcast where I reflect on faith and family and everything in between. I will talk about things that may be unique to me or entirely relatable. You can join in on the discussion by emailing the show at reflectingwithrainna@gmail.com or tweeting the show at Rainna Reflects on Twitter. And you can find my show notes and everything else at reflectingwithrainna.com. So like I said, this is entry 8 of Reflecting with Rainna, and the date is January 16th, 2021. Happy belated New Year. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, all that stuff. The last time I got to record an entry was in the very beginning of December. So I'm going to hop right into this episode's entry, and it's going to start out with a quote that has been, the whole quote itself has been attributed to or is said to come from Mark Twain, but I've heard some people be like, we don't really have any proof that it came from Mark Twain. Well, regardless, I don't care. It is a very cool quote and very applicable, and I have found a lot of truth in it. And it's easier to fool people than to convince them that they have been fooled. And whoa, I have a story. When I heard this quote again, I was like, man, does that really hit the whole entire lifetime of us little fleshy humans? We're always looking around every corner, so concerned that we're going to get fooled. And then sometimes we don't even want to realize that we have been fooled. But I think deep down, secretly, we always know when we're being fooled, but our pride gets in the way. Our haughty spirit gets in the way of us being able to discern whether or not we are being fooled. So I will share a story that has to deal with being fooled and not really entirely wanting to admit it. Here we go. All right, so this story is about being bamboozled, or as the quote said, being fooled. So the story is about my mom, actually, and myself and this interaction. And my mom had actually got bamboozled by what she termed a hacker. And it took 3 hours to convince her, to actually be hacked in her terms. So what happened was she was on the internet, and this fake website shot up in front of her, and it started flashing the siren, and it had a lot of believable terminology. It had very believable graphics, and it was saying, you have a virus. You need to contact Microsoft right now. Call this number and report this so we can get this problem taken care of. So my mom calls this number, thinking, oh no, I'm gonna get hacked. I've been hacked. I have a virus, and I gotta call right away to get this taken care of. So when she called this number, it inevitably went to some sort of a call room, because she said it sounded like there's a bunch of people behind this gentleman, and he had a very thick foreign accent. And she said he was very helpful, and he was very polite, and he immediately, said that he worked for Microsoft, and he's so happy that she got a hold of him so that he could help her fix this problem. But it's going to, she needs to pay them an initial $100 to get into her computer and clean it out. And then she has to subscribe to their antivirus service, where they will continue to get into her computer and keep it nice and clean and virus free. So that's the story she was told. And it's like inside of her, she wanted to believe, this is really strange, because in the past, she's never had to call Microsoft to get her virus taken care of, she would take it to the local computer store. But for whatever reason, this gentleman was very good at what he did, making her feel very comfortable. He sounded very trusting. And one of her favorite shows to watch was The Big Bang Theory, and she loved the character Raj on the show. So she, in relaying the entire story to me, was like, he was so nice and sweet, and he sounded just like Raj on my favorite show, The Big Bang Theory. But what really happened was, it took 3 hours for this gentleman to talk my mother into giving complete access of her computer over to this gentleman and to uncover her webcam, because we have always told her, cover your webcam. So he talked her into peeling the sticker off from her webcam, and then he told her to write a check out for $100, right? And then he said, hold the check up in front of the webcam. And then she was going to write a separate check for $300 so that she could stay protected, because this gentleman was very concerned about her computer health, So she, going against all of her better judgment, going against every drop of information we've shared with her about technology and internet safety and stuff like that, she went ahead and did that. And then when it was all said and done, she calls me, right? He says, now don't unplug your computer from the Wi-Fi, keep it on. And he told her that if she did not do this service, this is one of the selling points, if you do not do this hacker that has gotten into your computer can shut you out of everything. He can shut off your cable. He can shut off your Wi-Fi. He knows everything about you, and we need to protect you from him. So while she knows, so then he had some sort of weird file thing that he was trying to load, and she's like, yeah, he's downloading something right now into my computer. And I said, Mom, he still has access to your computer. What are you doing? Because she called me, right, to tell me about all this while the gentleman is still apparently has remote access to her computer. And I said, you need to turn the Wi-Fi off now. Turn it off now. You need to cut ties. Then she had given, because she showed him a picture of her check, now he had the routing number of her check. He had her cell phone or her telephone number. He had her home address. He had everything he needed from her besides her social security card. I'm surprised he didn't somehow, talk her out of that. So she proceeds to get very flustered, and Instead of realizing that she had indeed been bamboozled, she still was holding on to the fact that he was helping her. And I said, Mom, you haven't been hacked, but you have been bamboozled. A hacker would get into your system without you even knowing it. This gentleman knocked on the door, made you some promises. You opened him up and welcomed him in. You just handed over your bank account and your computer right to this man. You don't know him. You don't know him at all. And she got very upset with me for telling her this. She wanted to believe that the stranger would not do this to her, and she wanted so badly to believe that she had not been tricked, but secretly she knew she had, because she called me right away to tell me everything that happened. And when I agreed with her, yes, you have been taken. This is not okay, and we need to try to, do damage control immediately. She still did not. She still she was jumping in between two emotions. One, she would agree with me, and then the next one, she would get mad at me and tell me I didn't know what I was talking about. And she would almost like taking the anger that she had out on this gentleman out on me. And that's the story that popped into my head when I heard this quote today, that it is easier to fool people than to convince them that they have been fooled. And I totally felt that way. It seemed like it was so easy for my mom to hand over her entire bank information, her address. Like, that took like 3 hours to hand over all that information. He made bank, and here I am just minding my own business. Here, ring, 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 ring. My mom answers the phone, and it felt like it took me an hour just to get her to maybe agree to call the bank and tell them to shut everything down and to stop this, And I tried to explain to her what this gentleman did is he created the problem, and then he swooped in and also created himself the hero. And that's what I think goes on a lot in our lives is we find it so easy to want to believe things that puts not only us in a good light, but our thoughts and our beliefs in a good light. So we will seek out people that will tell us what we want to hear. We will read news articles that will tell us what we want to hear. We watch TV programs that tell us what we want to hear, and we build a world, what people would call an echo chamber. We build that because it's easier to believe that we are in control than that we have been fooled, right? So, yeah, she got angry with me. I'll just tell you the end of the story is we ended up getting a hold of the bank. They canceled everything, and we had to get her a new account information, change everything, and to also get and lock him out. So we got her taken care of, and because it was the weekend, he could not get through the routing number. If it had been a credit card, it would have been worse. But because it was a bank and a routing number, there was a wait time, so he didn't get any money from her, thankfully. But still, she still did not want to believe that she had been bamboozled. It took a lot to get her to see her error in her judgment. So, like I was saying, this can easily happen to many of us, and depending on where we're at in life, I think it really can play into it. Sometimes we're really young and green around the collar and naive, and sometimes we have, been burnt by situations and people, and we are wiser because of that. So now, hopefully, if that happens again, she will remember what not to do. But that because we're, little fleshy humans, we tend to favor that path of least resistance, and we tend to like to fall victim to confirmation bias. And if you don't know what that is, there is an article on psychologytoday.com. I will put that in the show notes, but confirmation bias occurs when there's a direct influence of desire on beliefs. So like when people like a certain idea or concept, like I was saying earlier, to be true, they end up believing it to be true. They are motivated by wishful thinking. And this error leads to the individual to stop gathering further information when the evidence gathered so far confirms the views or prejudices that they want to be true. So in my mom's case, she secretly in her heart of hearts knew that she had really messed up, but it also hurt her feelings. And so emotions were in play. So I also have a Bible verse I wanted to share because I think it's very easiest for us to believe that if something fits our personal opinion, and especially if we have placed ourselves so high in a pedestal that we think we are too smart to even be fooled. The Bible warns us about this in Proverbs. It's Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18, and this is from the NIV. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So we need to actually stay very vigilant and cautious and continue to pray for discernment. Because if God is leading you away from something, someplace, or someone, we really need to trust His guidance over our own desires. And anyone can be bamboozled. Nobody is untouched. It's gonna happen. Okay, so don't get mad about it. Don't feel. Just don't let your pride take over. I always say that ignoring the problem is hitting the pause button on life. Like, if we can't face our problems head on and deal with them, we're not growing as a person, and we're not growing spiritually, we're not growing physically, mentally. Like, there's a lot of things that all go hand in hand. So avoid that haughty spirit, and make sure not to club the messenger when you don't particularly like the message. That it really, it's not fun being the messenger of truth in situations like what I shared. It wasn't fun. And I personally prefer an uncomfortable truth over a comfy lie any day. I just liken it to like a parasite. If you go walking through the woods where I'm at in the fall, you're going to get jumped a bunch of ticks. Now, in my cartoon head, if I went down to the tick and said, "Oh, what are you?" And then the tick goes, I'm just a little leaf particle, and I'm just going to ride on you, and the wind's going to carry me away, and I'll say bye before I leave, and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, you're so cute, no problem." But in reality, it's a tick, and it's getting ready to bite me and suck my blood and get stuck in my skin. And I would rather it say, well, to be honest, I'm a tick, and I'm going to stick my little nasty bug mouth into your skin, and I'm going to suck your blood, and I might give you a disease. So I might give you was it Lyme's disease or something? I might give you that. So I would at least like to know the devil that I'm dealing with, instead of the comfortable lie that is really hurting me in the long run. So just don't fight the truth. It might hurt, but it's going to help you out in the long run. So yeah, the uncomfortable truth may sting at first, but it does bring healing, and a comfy lie can be very harmful. And in my mother's case, it could have been also very expensive. So I hope this reflecting back on the whole confirmation bias, our pride, and it's okay to be bamboozled. It's not okay to pretend that you've not been bamboozled and then club the messenger. So I hope this reflecting time has brought you some enjoyment, and thanks for listening, and you guys have a great day. I look forward to seeing you in my next entry. Thank you for listening to entry actually number 7. I called it number 8. It's totally number 7, but it is January 16th, 2021. So thank you so much for listening to entry 7. And don't forget, if you want to be in on the discussion, just email the show at reflectingwithraina@gmail.com. And you can also tweet the show at Raina Reflects on Twitter. And you can go to just reflectingwithraina.com for all the show notes and my past episodes. Take care. God bless. Bye-bye.